Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
We have CTV Science and Technology Specialist Dan Riskin is joining us today.
Yeah, I'm here.
We love having you here.
I love being here.
We're going to just dive right into this topic, which is that in a move that shocked most movie fans, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences just mandated that Academy members must watch every Oscar-nominated film in order to vote. Okay. So are we surprised that Academy members didn't have to watch the nominated films?
Yes, thank you. First of all, shame on them. Shame on them. First of all, I'm going to say they should have never let this information get out, because now I'm going to have a very hard time taking the Academy seriously, because you literally had one job. And right now I'm thinking about the actors who put their blood, sweat, and tears into their performances. Take Timothée Chalamet, who in his role as Bob Dylan talked about taking 5 years to really master this role. And then to hear that the people who are deciding whether you get a trophy or not, they sometimes just don't watch the movies. That is so disrespectful. And I'm also thinking about people who were nominated and didn't win, and probably felt like, I kind of feel like I should have won. And then they hear this news, and now I'd be thinking about the person who won and go, oh, so how did you win? Is it nepotism? Was that your sister, your brother, your friend from high school? How much money did you pay for that? Or did you not watch my movie because it's a black woman movie and you didn't think it was for you? Right? It's opening up too many conversations, and I think this is a major misstep. Also, by the way, every year, what are we talking about with the Academy Awards? Their ratings are declining every single year, and now you're gonna let this information come out? Bad move, sorry. This is terrible, and I feel bad for everybody involved.
Yeah.
Were you surprised, Dan?
I was surprised. I mean, a little bit. You don't really believe it means anything to start with, right?
Yeah,
Really?
I'm with you.
I mean,
I really do.
What makes a
think
movie
that.
better than another movie? I mean, different movies, it's art. Like an art contest.
I know, but we're talking about voting.
But
But there are
vote,
also 10,000, close to 10,000 voters, and they're not always just like people who are deep into the craft and do it for the love of film. There are like people who are just on the money side of movies. There are musicians who maybe don't know a heck of a lot about movies. And it feels like, for me, this explains all of those heavy Oscar campaigns. You know how every year they're just like, someone, it feels like, is shoved down our throat, or a picture is shoved down our throat, and it becomes less about who was the best actor, what was the best film, and more about like what was most popular, in a sense, sometimes.
But no, but then that would like...
Or who was the break, who is the darling, who is the underdog.
Who's the next big star?
There's a story built around who is going to win, and that campaign is pushing that story, and so the voters are almost voting on what is the best narrative, which is great for movies, but they're not voting on the actual movies, they're voting on the real life story.
But it's such a disservice to independent filmmakers who are like, I don't have that money, so that means I don't get a chance.
Independent filmmakers have been saying that for years about this.
I know.
They're like, for them, they're like, well, yeah, no kidding.
I know, that's why to have this information.
I went to film school, I will just say. And I know...
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Wait, no. Find out if she watched the movies first before we thank her for her service.
The thing is that, like,
Did you go to class?
I know so many people who are so passionate about films. They would need to only go to any given film school across the world, probably. Find those people who are so passionate, and they would have a breadth of knowledge, and they would have a kind of objective view. They're not necessarily being swayed by anything other than their passion for film.
The Oscars is big money. It's get the movie stars out, make them walk the red carpet, fill up our social media with all the pictures. That's what they're optimizing. And so, what is the best movie? It's the movie that's going to make.
Okay, but what about the argument that they had one job? You have one job.
Yeah, fair.
You have one job.
You're right.
Just watch it.
You're right.
Watch it.
And
Maybe
also,
not even all the way to the credits, but just watch it, so you are basing your opinion based on what you really think about it.
I presume that all these Academy members pay membership fees. Okay, so why couldn't a certain percentage of that money go to, like, let's say, a random amount of 100 people, objective people, make them sit in a room and watch all, and I think that's now what they're going to be doing.
I would do that. I would love to do that.
Amount of time.
I would love to do
get
that.
there.
It was funny what you were talking about, going to film school and getting the 100 people who really love film. I feel like those lists are out there on the internet. They're like...
They're called Rotten Tomatoes?
No, specific film magazines and academies, they do have like the 100 best movies of each year or of all time. Those lists are amazing. Check out those lists, you guys.
Okay, so let's move on before we get even more angry. All right. So he may be famous for his power slam, but John Cena says he was bullied into having hair transplant transplant surgery, all right? Now, he revealed on Pat McPhee's show that he was ripped to shreds over his appearance in recent years. I didn't hear that. All right, so does John Cena being bullied into a hair transplant surprise you? Dan, I'm gonna throw this to you as the man on the panel.
Well, what surprised me...
Dan!
What surprised me...
That was such a flex. That was a real moment.
Listen, I'm flexing on John Cena. Yeah, that's my strategy.
The greatest match of the century.
Yeah, no, I think that would be a
gosh.
very short fight. What surprised me was the noise that this audience made when we brought up the topic. Not a lot of sympathy for John Cena, right? When you say John Cena was bullied, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, you know, like as if, right? But it's hard to imagine that somebody that big and strong has, you know, these insecurities about the way they look. But I think all of us do.
Yeah.
And it just, for me, it really just makes me sympathize with teenagers. When you're an ugly duckling and everybody's picking on you, if John Cena can't take it, how do you expect a kid to take it?
That's a great point.
You make a good point, but I think I can explain why the audience was like, I think because we all know a bald man out there with maybe a bit of a dad bod who's living his best life with a smoking hot wife and a great job, and we cannot think about a lot of women who are bald who are living their best life and have the best job. So we're just kind of like, oh, John, your hair transplants, please. Because you know what? I understand. Being in the public eye is not for the weak. We know this. We see the comments. I'm guilty of it. I see stars, and I'm like, girl, you need to do something. Like, I'm guilty of it. But I think as women, we're all also going, we get judged for more than the hair on our head, my friend. Talk about your boobs, your nose, your hips, your height, your everything, your size of your feet. So I think that's why we're just kind of going, oh, John, get over it. Do like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, shave it bald. We don't care. We women, we don't care.
I feel like, though, you tapped into something. I wonder if it is that this is something that reminds me of stuff he was teased about as a kid. Like, just like there's little vulnerabilities that we all have. And I think this is a reminder that we assume that because so many men can look amazing with a bald head, that nobody is impacted by losing their hair if they're a man, or they shouldn't be. I wonder if you were picked at enough on anything, like especially being on a public show, is there anything that you would change as a result of someone picking? I can think of things that I would change. I would like to think that I wouldn't, but
what would you change?
Well, if someone every day was saying like, oh, you look old or you look whatever, I think I would be more apt. I'd like to think that my higher self would be like, no, I'm not going to change as a result of that. But I feel like my lower self might win in that wrestling match.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that like it's his body. If he wants to get, I mean, you can worry about what the motivation is and whether he was bullied and all that stuff. If somebody wants to get breast implants, hair implants, if somebody wants to go to the gym and get giant pecs or these aren't pecs, these are pecs.
I totally agree, but as soon as someone tells me what to do, or they say you should wear more makeup, you should wear tighter clothes, you should do this, it's like, oh yeah, nope, I'm not doing it. And so I kind of want John Cena to be a little more like that. You want me to do that?
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Like act like a baby, like me.
Yeah, I like it. I like that baby.
The Conservatives released their full party platform a day after advanced polling ended, and a record-breaking 7.3 million Canadians had already voted. Good for you guys. That's fantastic. Love that. All right, so Dan, how much does party policy matter when you are voting?
It matters because a lot of what, there's a context right now about a lot of things that weren't said before the election in the States, and then all the things that happened that people didn't know were on the docket, right? And science has been slashed in the States in a way that is going to set that country back a decade. I mean, it is mortifying. And so you look for specifics. You get nervous when you see generalizations and you see, you know, just a couple of keywords and nobody's really being clear about what they mean. And so I always applaud the idea of being very clear about what you have to say and what your plans are. And it's all about, you know, being able to look at that.
Well, I mean, that's interesting because, like, as we just pointed out, like, the Conservatives just laid out their platform afterwards. Like, 7.3 million Canadians voted. I was one of them this past weekend, and I didn't know what the platform was. So I will be guilty as charged. I don't look to the platform values. I look at the individual values and what the party represents to make my selection. And more to the point, I think I kind of choose a person who's in my riding because
like
that's the person
more
than the person, the actual like leader on a federal election.
Right.
Are you the same way?
Well, I actually pay more attention to the debates, I feel like, than policy promises. Debates, I feel like I can sort of gauge the cut of someone's jib really well, how they react.
Did you say the cut of their jib?
Yeah. But with the policy, I have no science to back this up, but with the policy promises and stuff, for me, it just kind of feels like there's so much gesturing. It's like how much of that ever comes to fruition? Yeah. And so when they're like, I promise to, all your groceries are gonna be free and we're gonna eliminate climate change, it's like, yeah, okay, we'll see about that. I'm being facetious, of course, but it does feel like that sometimes with the policies. They shoot for the sky, and you're like, you get very excited, but then 4 to 8 years later, you're like,
what was done?
I want to see that checklist. Yeah. How much did we get done?
See, that's an interesting take because I'll say, as a Black woman, and I'm not rich, and I don't have big connections with my family, I can't afford to not pay attention to policy. Because policy affects everything from our education, social justice, and I recently read Black women disproportionately experience health disparities such as higher rates of maternal mortality and limited access to quality care. So paying attention to policy is literally a life and death situation for me. So I pay very close attention, and historically a lot of Black women have paid attention to policy and move things that not just help Black women, but help everybody. So I feel like I have to pay attention to things. My Black girlfriends, we always share that kind of information just in case because you're not gonna catch everything, but I have a good network of friends who are always keeping me up to this, like pay attention to this. This is what this politician said. So for me, it's something I can't ignore.
May I ask if you've ever been disappointed, though, at the promises made for policies?
I'm always disappointed.
And then they didn't happen.
I'm always disappointed, but I can't say that I didn't pay attention.
Exactly.
And that's the difference.
Yeah, and elections matter.
Oh.
Right? I mean, like if we learn one thing from the last 6 months in the world, elections matter. And so the more people can be reading up and getting your vote out there, whatever your vote is, make sure your voice is heard.
Yep, agreed.
We love this.
Yeah.
Okay, up for discussion on the Ask Old People Reddit thread is, what is a skill or piece of knowledge that you're shocked most young people don't know? Okay, Gen X.
I'm gonna say, first of all, my son does not know what cut of your jib means. Anywho, we'll move along from that. In terms of what he doesn't know how to do, like my kid doesn't know how to, my kid's about to turn 12 and he for sure does not know how to properly make a bed, like with the bed sheet yet. I know, guilty, I'm a terrible parent. How to fold a towel properly. I'm not as concerned about those things because what I will say is he knows how to do a lot of things that I don't know how to do to this day. He knows how to code. He knows how to like fix computer programs. Like I'm clueless about something and he'll be able to pick it up and go, Mom, blah, blah, blah. One of the skills, though, that I've been talking about with my girlfriends recently is how I took keyboarding, typing, how to, have a home key and how to properly type and how important that skill is. And my kid is like going like this. So that is one skill that I feel like, who teaches that anymore?
Do they teach it?
I don't know. Yeah, I want them to know that. How about you? We have three.
Yeah, 3 kids. They're good at everything, all time. No, they're amazing. To be honest, like, I feel like if the kids don't know how to do something, I'm cool with that. I don't think I need to prepare my kids for a frictionless existence, right?
Oh, okay.
Like, like if you don't know how to fix a spare tire, like if you get a flat, like maybe that just makes for a great learning experience.
Yeah. But what about it's okay that they don't know anything, but giving them the confidence and the skills to let them figure it out on their own?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean that's really, that's the whole thing with education, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole and science in general. It's about asking good questions and going towards a new answer. And the stuff you know isn't interesting anymore. You're always looking for the next thing. And so, but I try to lead by example and always be curious and always be trying to learn new things myself.
Yeah.
But I don't have like a list of things that they need to catch up on because honestly, if like my kids don't know what a dial tone is and how to work a rotary phone, like
who cares?
They're probably fine.
Well, Dan, I'm glad you mentioned it. This isn't a life-saving skill, but I will tell you, I was shocked. Just one generation younger than me. What is that, a millennial? Playing some poker one night about a year ago, and it was their turn to shuffle. I shuffle, you just shuffle, you kind of go like that, Okay, that wasn't very good, it's live TV.
Yeah.
You just do some of this. You just do some of this, you're shuffling, you're having fun, you're doing a great job. Okay. And then the deck went to them, and they were like this.
Oh, Butterfingers.
Really? They don't know how to shuffle cards.
It was like they had never seen a deck of cards in their life, you guys.
Wow.
I was blown away.
Wow. They probably played a lot of solitaire.
And
right? but they've never seen the actual card.
Yeah, they don't actually touch
still
the
have to
cards.
There's an after that.
Yeah, there is
No
an after
one
that.
knows how to shuffle anymore.
Yeah, for me, it's communication skills. I see a lot of wonderful young people out here, but for me, it's always communication skills. I'm always blown away how they do not know how to give direct eye contact, say, hi, my name's Andrea.
Hi, Andrea.
For example, I just had a tennis lesson this past Saturday, and this young man was the instructor. There were 3 strangers, we'd never met each other. He started the lesson, he didn't say anything, and I was like, where are we going? He goes, court 3. And I go, where's that? Like, I had to ask every question, every exercise. He didn't say anything, no eye contact. And at the end, I wanted to ask him a question, and I'm like, what about rackets? And he just pointed me to the old man, and walked away, and I was like, so for me, it's communication skills and that having that confidence to like say things and let people know what's going on and say what your name is and what you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm blown away, but I understand they're always doing this, so they don't have that skill.
The Guardian is reporting on a new travel trend, the rise of bakery tourism, where people arrange their travel plans around the search for that perfect loaf of bread or croissant. So, Jess, you're our like resident foodie on the panel. So how far would you travel for food?
Not very far.
Yeah.
I feel like I enjoy food a great deal, but those places, when they're built up on TikTok or Instagram, I sometimes feel like I've partaken in that before, but I've been burned by the hype, where it just becomes like something looks really beautiful to photograph, and yeah, I don't like lining up for it. The last 2 trips I've taken, I had 2 of the best food experiences ever. And they were achieved by asking a Venetian boat driver where to go to eat, and then the B&B owner. And they were 2 of the best meals I've ever had in my life. No lineup, and they didn't even have Instagram presences, these places. So that just satisfies me more. Do you know what I mean?
You discovered
Not
it.
to say I went there.
Dan,
but-
do you do this?
I don't do it around food, but I do it around bats. I always, when I travel, I always
on.
know. Yeah, I got some applause for bats. Right on.
One lady.
One person, but listen, there are not many of us, but we are very, very special. When you go on a trip, it's fun to have that thing you're looking for, right? Because
Absolutely.
everything else falls in place. When you go to a place and you don't really have like a mission, it's fun and it's fine, and you're kind of wandering around aimlessly. No, that's neat, and that's neat. But when you're like, okay, there's a bat in this cave, and I need to get to the cave. You go there, and then you end up having, like, one of the best meals I've had was on the side of a mountain in China when somebody brought it up to us. We were doing a thing for Daily Planet. We had a film crew, and they found a local who could bring up some food, and we just eating on the side of a mountain, waiting to go in and see the bats.
That's super cool.
It's about the journey, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I
but
love that.
And I totally agree with you. I will not get on a plane for a biscuit, but for me, it's concerts. And I never thought I'd be this person, but I'm gonna blame Usher Raymond for that. Because he was the first person I was like, I'm going to this place because of this concert. That's me and Usher. Look at him. Look how close he is to me.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
After that experience, wow! So it started with Usher, then after that it was Bruno Mars, and then it was Janet Jackson. And now I don't even want to talk about a concert that's happening in my own city. It's like my vacation plans, if there's not an event happening, if there's not a concert, I'm kind of like, so we're just gonna go there and like walk around? Like, I need the event, but I'm blaming Usher.
Yeah, right on.
I think that's a good
God.
excuse.
I'm blaming
great.
Usher.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know. For me, I thought I was against this because I remember once. You remember when the whole cupcake craze started, and I was in New York, and Magnolia Bakery opened up, and I saw the lineup, and for 2 seconds I was like, oh, like, how good could this cupcake be? It's really flour and eggs and like sugar, like basically. And I was like, forget it. I'm not wasting my time. I'm like you. I like the process of discovery. But I will say, there's this TikToker that I'm not big on TikTok, but I saw this guy. His name is, you might know him as Keith Lee. Is his name from Vegas?
Yes.
Oh, he's great.
He came to Toronto, and one of the places he highlighted was in Scarborough. It's called Afro Pizza, and I am dying to go now. He made it look so good. So I love that.
Do you know what I will say about him?
say
I
it.
totally agree with you. He's often highlighting places, mom and pop shops.
That's right.
That could actually use that boost in business where you talk to the owner after and they're crying because, you know, they can pay their rent the next. They've changed their lives.
right.
That, there's a beauty in that.
I love that.
love that as well.
So go check that out, Afro's Pizza. Okay, and Dan, we love having you here.
Oh my God.
You do.
This is so fun.
You and your beautiful head of hair.
Yeah. Come back anytime. We love it.
Thank you.
Subscribe to the Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.